Marvel movies used to be the pinnacle of what a movie should be. Every other movie in the world strived to be like Marvel, but now Marvel just seems to be releasing flop after flop after flop that no one except for the most bottom of the barrel liberal white girls with their testosterone lacking boyfriends want to go and see. The boys will go and say, I really enjoyed that powerful woman, in hopes that their mentally insane dommy mommy GFs will grant them at least a little bit of affection. Oh, sorry, you caught me in the middle of practicing my free verse poetry. I'm thinking of calling this masterpiece Disappointment. The MCU was once the peak of cinema, something several studios have been trying to recreate since then. The DCU to The Walking Dead to even the Dark Universe, which hopefully starts up soon. I honestly want the Dark Universe to be a thing. I would love those movies. The MCU has been going strong for almost 20 years. Well, more like going strong for 11 of those years and then being put on life support for the last 5. I don't even know how the MCU is still around. Every movie that Kevin Feige thinks up just seems to be bombing in the box office, and every show on Disney Plus is a show on Disney Plus. Sir, we need to come up with a new show for Disney Plus. Uh, what if, uh...
Great idea, sir. Absolutely brilliant.
I feel kind of guilty talking about the current state of the MCU when I haven't really watched any of the recent movies. The Marvels was a movie I never dreamed of touching. Instead, I watched reviews on YouTube of the movie, laughing as the funny man on my screen made fun of the funny women they saw on screen. But I kind of feel like that goes to show how far Marvel has fallen. I'm a guy who doesn't have a lot of standards, which is why I'm surprised I've yet to find a female mate. But this also means that most movies considered trash I call treasure. The Ben Affleck Daredevil, I enjoyed. The 90s Mario movie is pretty good. Every Sharknado movie exists. Morbius was a movie of all time. You get the point. It doesn't take much to please me. I'm like a baby. Have some dangling keys in front of me, and I'll be entertained till the end of time. All this really shows how bad the Marvels is, and for me to not want to watch it. I heard the actors weren't really trying. It had that
Iconic.
iconic post Endgame CGI, and the entire script was just messy. Can I confirm all this? No. Will I ever? What do you think? Going back to that CGI thing, goddamn, how far has the MCU fallen when you have CGI looking like this?
Can you see me?
Floating hit alert.
It's Astrid, Heimdall's son.
Astrid, are you okay?
I no longer go by the name Astrid.
I have heard that CGI studios have been overworked recently, so that may be one of the issues, but at the same time, why is this happening all at once? It was like after Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home, the CGI budget just disappeared. Shows like The Boys have been having excellent CGI, so clearly someone out there is doing their job. Something else that I think is an issue is the fact that every threat in each movie and show seems to be some kind of multiversal or universal threat. I found it weird that Ant-Man was going up against Kang the fucking Conqueror in Quantumania. I watched the movie and I was like, what the fuck? Ant-Man should be getting fucked in 50 different multiverses. How is he beating Kang's ass here? The movie could have made up some bullshit saying that this Kang was the weakest in the Council of Kangs and that's why he was kicked out. But no, you see, he was too violent and that's why he was kicked out. Why will it take 2 movies to defeat a threat that a shrinking man and his daughter were able to beat in 10 minutes? Shows like Loki, it makes sense that threats would be multiversal. Loki is a god that's been around for a while. He's earned his multiversal ending storyline. Remember in Iron Man 1 how his villain was just some greedy businessman? Well, if Tony lost, the world would have been the same. It's not like Obadiah wanted global domination. He just wanted to be rich. Or, well, richer than he already was. If Thor had lost in his first movie, then only Asgard would have been doomed. Yeah, it's not good, and it's an entire world that would have been brought to its knees, but at the same time, Loki wouldn't have made it far if he tried to take over more. It took the MCU 10 years to lead up to a universal threat, and once that single universal threat was defeated, every C-tier hero was defeating world-ending threats. Echo was nice because if Maya had lost, all that would have happened is the Kingpin being a little bit more mad than he normally would be. Something else that bugs me, and pretty much everyone else that I see that talks about this, is the MCU is getting very oversaturated with heroes. Marvel has been filling every movie and show with whatever hero cameo they can think of, for pretty much no reason. What was the impact of throwing Star Fox into the post-credits scene of Eternals? I bet you no one in the general audience knows who Eros is. For those who don't know, Eros, aka Star Fox, is an Eternal who was sent to Titan, and became the adopted brother of Thanos. Oh yeah, he also likes to rape women by using his telekinetic powers on them. Sure, Kevin Feige can't wait to adapt that storyline. Oh yeah, and also She-Hulk beats the shit out of him at one point. It's kind of funny. The MCU has also been teasing a lot of famous characters, but not really using them well. Like in She-Hulk, how there was the Daredevil mask in that one episode. That was the only reason why people kept watching. I know that was the only reason why I ever kept watching. Never fucking watched She-Hulk for anything else but Daredevil. They had the Daredevil mask there just to keep people watching, and then he came in, fucked She-Hulk, and then left. And then with Echo, Daredevil shows up for one fight in the first episode, leaving me and probably others to think that he would come back at some point, since, Echo's main villain was Kingpin, and Kingpin and Daredevil are like fucking oil and water. Man, Marvel just loves to use Daredevil to blue ball the fans. On the other hand of this, Marvel's wasting every decent villain they have. You'll never understand the disappointment I had seeing the MCU ruin Taskmaster. Taskmaster in the comics is a badass who can copy anyone's fighting style just because he is him. And it sucks seeing them turn that badass character into a burn victim. A quick fun fact, that's a guy in the suit for most of the film. That's not a woman stunt actor, that's a male. So, yeah, feminism. I have seen people saying that they can just bring Taskmaster back and say, like, oh, the chip that was in the original Taskmaster was put in this person, but at the same time, that they're still ruining the legacy because you can't just introduce this character a second time and be like, look at this new version of Taskmaster. Isn't this one better? And expect us to forget what originally came before it. You can't have Taskmaster in the MCU anymore because now the legacy has been ruined. Maybe I'm just being overdramatic. Not that the legacy is ruined, but like this wasn't the first. They messed up the first time Taskmasters appeared, so it's not like it's going to be another first introduction. It's sort of how I feel towards Mr. Incredible being played by John Krasinski, but now being played by Pedro Pascal in the new movie. Because they introduced Mr. Fantastic in Multiverse of Madness, and it was exciting. I was happy to see him in the movie finally, and is played by an actor that everyone wanted him to be played by. But then they instantly kill him off with Wanda, and now he's being brought back in the MCU, played by someone else, which seems off. I get that multiverses exist and that, everyone's gonna look different than how they actually are in each multiverse, but if every multiverse, Mordo, Doctor Strange, Wanda, they all look the same. So why wouldn't Mr. Fantastic look the same as the Illuminati version? But besides just looks, it's like the entire thing of they already introduced him, so introducing him a second time is not going to be as special now. I don't know. Maybe the Marvel can reintroduce Taskmaster in a better way, but either way, I'm gonna get called sexist by a blue-haired Twitter girl. The Eternals had way too many villains in that movie. They got that intelligent, deviant dude. They had the Celestial coming out of the planet, although that wasn't really a villain. It's more like just a threat. And then they had Icarus turning traitor for some reason. They didn't need all these villains. It just was filling up time that they didn't need to fill. The whole intelligent, deviant dude was not needed. He could have just been left out of the story and nothing would have changed because he appears and then he disappears and he comes back to the final battle and then he's killed by Athena. So I really don't see what purpose he served. He could have been an antagonist for another movie, but they decided to throw him in, kill him, and then waste him as a future antagonist. You could have just kept Icarus, kept the Celestial, and then have, the whole fight at the end where the deviant dude is not even relevant. Scarlet Witch is something that I should kill someone over. You've got this iconic as hell woman played by an absolute baddie, and then you kill her off so soon. She just got a power up after WandaVision, and I'm not saying that she didn't do anything wrong. No, killing billions or even trillions of people in other universes just so you can see your made up kids isn't right. But it doesn't mean that you just kill off the Scarlet Witch after one movie. I do hope Marvel throws a plot twist of saying, oh, look, she's not dead, she's actually alive. Because if she truly did die, it should be in a more spectacular way than just a crumbling temple. The issues don't just lie in the characters, but the way that the movies themselves are being produced. It seems like these movies are unable to go 5 seconds without making a joke. Like some insane guy has the writers at family at gunpoint saying shit like, "That's right, if you want your wife to live, then you'll have Spider-Man make a butt joke right there." Yeah, that's the stuff. We don't need these movies to be dark and brooding heroes like that one episode of Teen Titans Go when they get all serious. All we want is at least one moment to have some emotion without some background character making the most boring ass joke known to man.
Tell me what to be.
I don't know. don't be a dick.
It's too late. Look at me. I'm such a dick.
It's never too late to stop being a dick.
Holy fuck, did this scene just remind me of how much I hated Quantumania for ruining MODOK. I waited so long for MODOK to get in the MCU. He was such a cool guy in all the shows and comics, and I was waiting forever, and they fucking ruined him so badly in this fucking movie. Oh, God! The movies and shows also seem to be so disconnected. Off the top of my head, I can only think of, like, one time the movies affected each other after Endgame, which was Doctor Strange mentoring Spider-Man in Multiverse of Madness. Was there others? I have no fucking clue, not that I could find. I always joke with my dad about how the celestial hand sticking out of Earth gets no attention, and he gets so bent out of shape over it, because literally no other movie or show acknowledges the fact that there's a huge hand sticking out of the Earth made out of, like, marble or something. He keeps questioning why no one has said a word about, the god hand sticking out. And it's a valid question. I doubt that Celestial will come into play until Eternals 2, but better bet your ass I'm not going to see that movie. Now, there is one last issue that I believe is the biggest issue that Marvel is having right now that's been ruining all their movies recently, and that issue is wokeness. Oh wow, another straight white male complaining about how woke the MCU is. How original. I know what I'm about to say has been said 1,000 times before, but it's because it's the truth. I don't want to pay money to go see a movie that only exists because some woman fucked a director and gets to write a movie and about their power fantasy. I'm tired of seeing news articles write reviews based on how diverse this movie's cast was and how it sheds light on LGBTQ community. I'm watching these movies to see men in spandex fight other men in spandex. I can't enjoy these men touching men when that's all that's thrown in my face is black girl, gay guy.
Half black, half Mexican, transgender, homosexual, disabled dwarf who identifies as they/them.
I don't care if they have a black person in a movie, but there's a clear difference between having a black guy in a movie because he's black and he's there because he's an actor. Same thing with women, with everything in general. Write a character to be a good character. Don't write them only to exist because of their color or sexuality. Here's an example. In the comics, Nick Fury is a badass government spy dude. And in the MCU, he's black. Not because they wanted him to be black because he's black, but because Samuel L. Jackson, the actor, could portray Nick Fury well. More recent case is Kang. Jonathan Majors took my breath away as Kang, and he was there because he was a good actor. Now, unfortunately, it seems like he was good at some other stuff, so now he can't act in the MCU anymore, but hey, I think he did good in the movies. Separating the art from the artist. On the other hand, we have the women. Captain Marvel was a power fantasy for some female screenwriter who wanted to make Carol overpowered without having her work for it. And the only people in Carol's life who kept her down were men. She had no character growth, and honestly, she's just a dick throughout the entire movie. I didn't even like it when it first came out. And it gets only worse when you introduce She-Hulk.
Here's the thing, Bruce. I'm great at controlling my anger. I do it all the time. When I'm catcalled in the street, when incompetent men explain my own area of expertise to me, I do it pretty much every day because if I don't, I will get called emotional or difficult or might just literally get murdered. So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you. So all of this just feels like projecting a lot of shit onto me.
In my original script, I didn't linger on this scene, but after rewatching it, I just gotta say, like, she downplays so much shit that happens in Bruce's life. Like, I looked at a comment from a YouTube video, and he literally goes over how Bruce's mom was killed by his psycho dad. He was abused by his dad. He became an uncontrollable beast. His fiance's dad tried to kill him. He's permanently labeled a threat by S.H.I.E.L.D. He can't have children. He can't have a normal life. He lost Natasha. He couldn't protect Loki and Thor. He couldn't protect Natasha. He was enslaved as a gladiator. So much shit happened in this dude's life, and then here she is saying shit like, oh, I get catcalled, or people try to mansplain, or like, oh my god, this dude's been so much more. He's tried to kill himself because of like the shit he's gone through. Meanwhile, you're here just like complaining about like something that daily McDonald's workers go through. Fucking toughen up. You're not good at controlling your emotions because you're feeling this way. In the comics, Jen is so much better because like she's sympathetic towards Hulk and she tries to help him through like all his mental shit. And she sees like the She-Hulk not as like a curse but as something that she likes. And I think she spends months on end being She-Hulk and refusing to turn back to Jennifer. Meanwhile, this show is just like, oh, this is a curse, whatever, whatever, whatever. But I can't really compare her to the comics too well because I haven't really read She-Hulk comics, and I don't know, maybe I should because I think they're a lot better than the show. Anything's better than the show, honestly. She-Hulk is honestly, in my opinion, the number one culprit when it comes to these like Mary Sue strong women characters. She's somehow better at everything compared to Hulk when he's been doing this shit for years, and she's good at it because she's got XX chromosomes. And the writing with this show is like top notch lazy. The ending alone made me want to kill myself, and I don't know how anyone thought that was a good idea. You know who a great strong female character is? Ellen Ripley. She was a badass. She had great character development. She wasn't just around because she was a girl. She had a lot of memorable scenes, a lot of memorable lines. She had a great personality. Her whole character arc was about motherhood and all that. Point is, these writers are writing every woman like they're Saitama, but unlike Saitama, there's no charm, there's no comedy, it's not a parody. They're just power fantasies. But hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Fantastic Four is coming out soon, and it's starring Pedro Pascal. It's set in the 60s, and I honestly can't wait for it. It looks really interesting. Deadpool and Wolverine is an MCU movie. I know Ryan Reynolds won't let that movie be ruined, and honestly, I can't wait for Secret Wars. I hope they bring back all the legacy characters for that one. Maybe this is just a rough patch in the MCU, brought by bad writers during the moment of the writer's strike, which we're still recovering from. Every story has its slow bits, and in this case, this might just be it. I hope Marvel sees these issues and corrects them sooner rather than later, but only the future can tell.